I can already see all the great things we're going to be doing together during the next 12 months. So in this call, there's a lot of information, so I would very much recommend you to make notes, even come back and watch this recording later, so that you can really understand in the best possible way everything that we are covering today, because there will be a lot of information. What I'd like to do first is I'd like to look back a little bit into last year, where we can clearly say that the year 2025 was a year of our global expansion. Now, when we look at our growth from 2021, when Amplivo became part of the Corsair Group, that has been only going up. We've been increasing and growing our operations on a yearly basis. And looking back last year, we can say that the expansion happened most importantly on a horizontal level. We expanded on so many different areas into new markets, new territories. We had new teams and leadership joining us, which really allowed the company to expand sideways. Now, when you go to our new website, which is now live, and I would like to invite you to go and take a look with all the latest updated information that is there now available, you will find a list of things important and I would say important milestones that we have done over the different years. And there's a list for every year, for 2020, 2021, there's a list for 2022, and so on. When you look at the list of achievements that we did in 2025, it's quite impressive. Now, many of these, almost, 15, 20 key achievements, many of these could alone have been the one major thing that we achieved during the entire year. But the fact that we have there, 15, 20 of them, is very, very impressive. And I'm very, very proud and really happy for the results that we achieved as a team during last year. I mean, just think about it. The fact that we as a company are now recognized at the United Nations, or that we are now expanding our operations into these different regions with new collaborations, partnerships, and so on and so on. These are very, very big and important milestones. Not to mention the fact that we are now also operating on the public space where we are able to offer investments to investors in places like Europe and other selected countries. I'm going to talk about that in more detail in a few minutes, but I just want to highlight the importance of the work that was done during the year 2025. Now, as the year 2025 came to closure, that also meant that the allocation period for the CSR 25 plastic credit came to an ending as well. Now, this means that since the 3rd of January, which was last Saturday, the packages that are now sold by the Corsair Connect, previously known as the Amplivo network, no longer include plastic waste removal service that results in the creation of CSR 25. Instead, it now includes, as a result of the work that gets done, CSR 26. So therefore, the period during which the CSR 25 plastic credits are created is now finally closed forever. And that means that the total amount of CSR 25 plastic credits that will ever be in existence, that will ever be created, is approximately 590 million credits. Okay? Now, let me be very clear on this. This is the final number that can ever be in existence. It doesn't mean that it's all in circulation. Actually, a lot of this has already been retired, removed permanently from circulation. Some of these have already been bought back by Corsair, permanently removing them from circulation, but this is the total amount that can ever be in existence. And when you compare that into the so-called original CSR, the 590 million CSR 25 plastic credits represents only 6% of the total amount of the original CSR. So these 590 million is not a lot. It's actually very little, and I'm very happy for that. Because what we are going to see now with CSR 25 is we're going to see very interesting market development. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail in a few minutes. But that's the total allocation. There will never be one additional to that. This is it. Now, many of these credits won't even be released until the middle or late next year. So there's going to be a period of distribution during when these credits will be released to the market. So they won't even all be out there at the same time. And for example, because of this, we can now say that the countdown has officially started. The countdown in this case means that from basically 1 week ago, every week, the amount of CSR 25, which is in circulation, is becoming less and less and less. Because with every single retirement that is done by companies or private individuals, when they offset their plastic waste footprint, CSR 25 is removed from the market and removed permanently, either by retiring it or as a part of our buyback program, where Corsair is using money from the sales of the oil that we generate in our factories to also buy these credits back. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. But that means that every week, this total existence that could be in circulation is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. From now until long, long, long in the future. Now, at the moment, there is approximately 2.6 million CSR 25 plastic credits, which are on the exchanges, or in this case, in the L-Bank exchange. These are not even all listed for sale, but they are currently stored inside the L-Bank exchange in their digital wallets. So if you think about it, 2.6 million credits altogether out there on the market, that is very, very little. It's basically nothing. Which makes this very interesting. That's a very good sign. That's what I want to highlight. And I also want to mention, and I want to ask you, and I want to inform you, even beg you, to never, ever store your credits on the exchanges. Storing your credits on the exchanges is the single most dangerous place for you to keep your credits in. Because if anything happens for that exchange, by law, they will be legally able to keep your credits. This is a very serious situation, and it goes with pretty much every exchange around the world. If you have Bitcoin there or whatever digital assets you have, if that exchange goes into bankruptcy, in their user agreements, they actually have stated that if they go into bankruptcy, they get to keep their customers' assets. You will not get them back. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So we don't control the exchanges. We have no involvement with the L Bank or La Token. We have no ownership, no involvement, nothing. So that's why I want to take the opportunity every time to remind you, please do not keep your credits in the exchange. Keep them in your Trust wallet, keep them at the CSR Now wallet, keep them at your MetaMask, whatever you do, but don't keep them at the exchange. If you have them there right now and you're not thinking about selling them, move them out. Okay, now I've said it. All right, we move forward. So the potential for CSR 25 value development is very exciting because it means there's very little of it, not all of it even in circulation, and with increased demand coming from the retirements and coming from the buyback program, we're going to see a lot of interesting things happen for CSR 25. So let's talk about this year. What can we expect from the year 2026? Well, if last year was the year of global expansion, this year, without a doubt, is going to be the year of a global growth. We're going to see this happening in every level of our business, on the industrial level, in the network, with the digital assets, everything is coming together. And I think this will be the most important, the most productive, the biggest year we've ever had. And when we finish this presentation, we finish this call, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me. Now, some of the targets that we have for this year is, of course, expanding on our operations in every level that we do, but also to truly now enter and grow in the North American market. Also, and I know that we have a lot of our Latin American friends here, I would like to extend that to Latin America as well. But North America is definitely an area which is a new area for us. And we are going to see a lot of development there, both on the industrial side of things as well as with the network. We're looking to announce the first facility, introduce you the location and give you more information about that next month in February. Will be very exciting. We have our industrial target for the United States, which currently includes the development of 100 factories around the country. Not 100 machines, 100 factories. That means basically 1,000 machines. And our target is that over the coming years, we expect and we aim to be able to reach an annual processing target of plastic waste being over 1.2 billion kilos per year. That maybe sounds a lot, but the United States alone creates every year about 51 billion kilos of plastic garbage. 51 billion. Our target is basically 1 billion. But if we reach that 1 billion, and when we reach that 1 billion, that means that we will be able to produce only in the United States, which is a very big part of our expansion and our targets for this year. We will be able to produce as much as 1 billion liters of pyrolysis oil per year. That means that with our existing agreements and with the current market price for pyrolysis oil produced by Corsair, that would translate, that would convert into over $1 billion of sales per year. Now, This is something that we have been working a lot for, and every time when we talk with our new partners over there in the waste management industry, in the recycling industry, and with the government people and the regulators, and we have some amazing contacts in the United States that we have formed over the last months, we can just see how the opportunity is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just looks very good. And the fact that we are fully aligned with the government targets and even the targets of the local states is very, very exciting. One thing that you will hear a lot during this year is about our expansion to Sri Lanka, where I'm happy to tell you that the Sri Lankan project is now fully financed through a partnership with a private investor. Why I want to mention that is that this is actually the first time ever that this is the situation. Because in the past, every time when we started a project, Bangkok 1, Bangkok 2, Finland, whatever it was, we never had the money in the bank, okay? We always believed in the universe, in good work, karma, the community, into ourselves. We were always very confident that we will be able to find the money over the course of the project when it's needed. And so far we have. But now we have, as a company, moved into a new level where we no longer have to, and we no longer will enter into a new project unless we have already secured all the finance needed to build that project 100%. I can tell you personally, and for our team, that's a big deal, because it takes a huge stress out of our shoulders, having to make sure that we find the money every month to pay for the construction and do this and do that. But also, it explains you and shows you where we are now with the business. We no longer have to do it in this way. And for example, in this case, the Sri Lankan project is now financed 100% with money outside of the network. Not €1 from the network is going to go into financing the Sri Lankan project. And still, Corsair Group, as we are still the majority shareholder of 51% in that factory. The remaining 49% belong to the investor that's putting in all the money. He's taking the full risk. And also to our great partners, the company LOLC. LOLC is one of the largest companies in the country of Sri Lanka. They are a billion-dollar company. And actually, the owner and the chairman is today officially the wealthiest, the richest man in the country. He's our business partner. And I just met him in November. We had a great time with him in Sri Lanka. And this company, the people behind it, very, very powerful. All the way to the president and the government, they are connected. I believe actually that the president and the owner of the LOLC, the chairman, they're relatives. So even better. So we have some great plans for Sri Lanka. And now when people have returned back from their New Year holidays, we're going to start the actual construction over there. And you're going to see a lot of development happening. The great thing about Sri Lanka is that this is an already existing factory that was built by LOLC. So they already have the land, they got a building. We are going to extend the building, but there is already a building and a lot of the infrastructure in place. They even had one machine that we're going to replace, but it's already a licensed factory that we have now taken over. And actually, this now makes this the third factory that we, as Corsair, in our 5 years of history, have taken over. and we will continue to be doing that more in the future. Also, we have some great updates and news coming from Finland. I'm excited to share them with you, which will happen next month. Obviously, things are moving forward greatly here in Thailand with our Bangkok facilities, our Bangkok 1, 2, and 3 factories. And also there will be several other new locations that we're going to be releasing and launching during this year around the world. So when we think about our targets for this year, first of all, we want to continue our position as being the fastest growing company in plastic waste chemical recycling industry. This we are today, this we have been already for years, and there is nobody competing with us on this part. But also what we are aiming to achieve during this year is to become recognized as the market leader in the world. That's our target. By the end of this year, that we can say with confidence that Corsair is the leading company in the world in the plastic waste chemical recycling industry. That's our target. Now, we are going to continue improving our business in all areas. That includes a lot of the elements involving the network. I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. But also we're going to talk and we're going to do collaborations with institutional financiers. This is a very important point because 5 years ago when we started and we started going around and talking to investors and banks and finance companies, they didn't know what we were talking about, but they thought we were crazy. And it was impossible to get money, for example, from the banks. You know, so many people told me, why don't you go to the bank and get the money from the bank? Well, believe me, we tried. But the banks, they said, we don't know this business. We've never seen this. We don't understand. We don't have any experience. If you want to build an apartment project or you want to build a housing project, we'll give you a mortgage, we'll give you this money and blah, blah, blah. But for this business, we have no idea what we're talking about. We can't give you the money. So years ago, we basically gave up on the banks. I said, okay, I'm not going to waste my time more there. We're not going to get any money from this. We have to take our time and one day it will happen. Well, I am very happy to share with you guys that this day has now arrived. And now we are actually being contacted by the banks. Why is this happening now? Very interesting. First of all, we all know about the regulations that are coming for plastic manufacturing companies, like the petrochemical companies, Shell and others. That's one thing. At the same time, more regulations are coming for the companies that use plastic in the packaging of their products. Whoever makes these water bottles, the company that sells the water, they have to take responsibility now on the plastic that they use. Well, as an interesting development, also the financial companies, the banks, they are now becoming also responsible of helping the planet to get rid of the plastic pollution. What does that mean? It basically means that with new regulations, if a bank, even here in Asia, if the bank is not having a certain amount, a percentage of green, environmentally important and environmentally valuable projects in their portfolio, the bank will be penalized by the government. So that means that the banks are now becoming legally obligated to invest and finance green projects. And as a practical example of this, one of the largest banks here in Asia, out of Singapore, contacted us recently with the interest, as they said it themselves, where they would like to finance our entire Asian expansion. Every factory that we want to build here in Asia, they would like to finance them. Think about that. I said in the United States, our target is to build 100 factories. Here in Asia, our target is to build 500 factories. What is that going to look like? And with the fact that now the money is becoming available, where we don't have to wait to raise the capital, put the money together, organize this. No, we got the money in the bank and we're ready to go. That's what we can expect to start happening during this year, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to lead into a lot of expansion. So with that, we're also looking at forming more large-scale collaborations with organizations like the United Nations, and of course, bringing in more qualified people into the management of our business in all different levels. Additionally to that, we're looking to expand our contributing program, basically meaning that we want to bring in more companies, more organizations around the world to participate into the CSR platform. Because what's happening right now is that more and more companies around the world are becoming aware of the concept of plastic credits. But these companies, these organizations, maybe they're a small organization collecting plastics from the environment, or like we do here in Thailand, we work with the people at the largest slum area where people are now able to collect plastic from their community and sell their plastic waste to us. More and more organizations that are dealing with plastic waste, either collecting it or recycling it, are becoming aware of the plastic credits. And they would like to find a way to participate in somehow, to benefit from somehow, which is great. Because that's what the plastic credit is all about. It's helping the companies and the organizations to do more plastic collection and more plastic recycling. Not only Corsair, the entire industry. And with the global recycling rate today, which is about 5%, which means that 95% of all the plastic waste in the planet is not recycled or processed in any way. There's a lot of work to be done, and this industry needs support. Everybody and anybody who's doing something good for the environment with plastic pollution needs to get that extra income so they can do more of it. It's crucial. Okay? As I've said in the masterclass videos, which I highly recommend you to go to our YouTube channel and watch those videos. There's more coming, but watch them and learn about the market. Right now, plastic production around the world is growing annually 10 times faster than the development of the plastic recycling industry. So we have to take action, and taking action means financial support. So what we have done already a couple of years ago is we opened up the CSR plastic credit program to become a platform. You could even say that, and I like to use this example, it's kind of like an Airbnb for the plastic recyclers. So if you are a plastic recycler somewhere in India or Italy or United Kingdom or United States, Thailand, wherever, and you are now recycling plastic, we would like to work with you. We already have contributors from different parts of the world who are already doing this with us, already for the last few years. And during this year, we want to include more of these contributors into our program. By the end of the year, our target is to have at least 26 contributing partners. What it means is that when these organizations, like the fishermen here in Thailand that are collecting plastic from the ocean, or the community that is collecting it from the poor community here in Bangkok, they can now receive financial support. We will bring our auditors from Control Union to audit their operations. And when they can show that plastic was now removed from the environment and it was recycled, either chemically or mechanically, we will then pay for them for that work. As a result of that, they give us the rights to issue the plastic credits. That means that this recycler or this organization doesn't have to themselves create their own credit, build their own market, build all the standards and everything for the auditing. There's a lot of work and a lot of money investment going into that. Instead, they don't have to pay anything. We pay for the auditing. They just keep on doing what they're doing. They get this extra income and we get the rights for their work, which will then lead, after auditing, into the issuance of the CSR plastic credits. Also, by doing this, the CSR plastic credit and CSR 26 plastic credit is now becoming a global operation. When a global brand like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or whoever, when they look at these operations, they want to have a global impact. They don't only want to have an impact in Africa or in specific country here or there. They want to have a global impact. And with CSR plastic credit and our contributor program, we can now provide it for them. It's very exciting. Now, with our combined expansion that we're going to be seeing this year, we are set to break every record out there. That's what we can expect from this year. And that also means that with additional factories coming involved, now here in Asia, in Europe, in North and Latin America, there's going to be more and more money channeled towards the buyback program. What is the buyback program? The buyback program is a program operated by Corsair, where money that we receive when we sell this oil made from plastic waste is used to buy back CSR and CSR 25 plastic credits from the market at any available rate. For example, the target for the United States alone, which is set to generate in the coming years over $1 billion a year. That means that 10% of that money, in this case, $100 million a year, only from the USA operations, will go into the buyback program. We will spend that money on the exchanges every month at any rate. We don't care what somebody is asking for their credits. If they're asking for 0.5 cents, or they're asking for 5 cents, or they're asking for $5, or they're asking for $500, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We will continue to spend that money on the market every single month. And with more factories coming in different parts of the world, that means that more oil is being produced and more money is going into the buyback program. Also, in many countries around the world, like in Europe and in the United States, we actually also get paid to receive the plastic waste. Can you imagine that? We're getting paid to take the plastic waste into our factory. And every time when we get paid to take that money, which now in Europe is already as much as 450 euros per ton, 10% of that money also goes into the buyback program. France just announced that they will begin to pay companies 1,000 euros per ton, which is almost the same amount that we get from the oil. Only to take the plastic in, we can get paid up to 1,000 euros per ton. And again, from all of that money, 10% will go into the buyback program. This is something, ladies and gentlemen, that has never, ever been done before. Never. And this development here, as you are listening to me today, has nothing to do with the network. People say, okay, but what about the network? Is it? No. Well, I just told you about Sri Lanka. That project will be built 100% without the network. Now our expansion in Asia, as we are going to new projects, is expected to happen 100% with money coming from the banks and other investment companies, which means that all of this money to build these factories and then the money that is generated by selling the oil to some of the largest oil and gas companies like Shell is the way where the money for the buyback is coming from. I'm telling you guys, if you figure this out, if you register this, if you understand this, you're not going to sleep tonight. Because this is, believe me, this is the greatest opportunity that most people who learn about us will ever come across in their lives, period. I dare you and I challenge you to show me a better business. Anything. Show me a better business today where you have a bigger growth opportunity, where the timing of the business is better than what we have, which is able to combine capitalism with the greatest business opportunity in the world today, together with digital revolution, using the most transparent, the best available digital assets, which is the blockchain, and then combine that with philanthropy, where with every single kilo of plastic that we remove from the environment, with every single step that we do in our business, we're out there helping people to improve their lives, like we're doing now, building houses for the homeless people, providing thousands and thousands of meals for the homeless people here in Thailand, helping people not only just to get help, but to create them new earning opportunities, which is very important. The self-respect that a person gets when they can actually do something meaningful, they can actually do something to support their family, provide for their children, is so meaningful. It's so important, both psychologically, socially, and environmentally. On top of that, with our business, which involves now network marketing through the Corsair Connect company, this is the greatest opportunity that is out there for anyone who wants to build either extra income or build a career or even build a life-changing business. As we've seen now, more and more people around the world are becoming now full-time in our business, and we're just getting started. I mean, I see the money that is being paid out to a lot of, especially the leaders, some of them here in the call today. Yeah, that starts to be impressive. Truly, life-changing. So what we are doing is combining so many of these valuable elements. And as a result of that, we're cleaning our planet from the biggest environmental problem that is currently challenging it. Think about it. There isn't anything better than these guys. Nothing. And there's no competition. People often ask me, what about competition? So what competition? You heard me just telling that 95% of all this plastic waste produced every year is not recycled in any way. Goes into the landfills or gets burned. Now they're paying us money to take it. That's how much the governments need our help. They're paying us to take it. The petrochemical companies are legally obligated to buy our oil product. And during this year and the following years, we're going to see more and more regulations where the companies that are actually using the plastic are now also becoming legally obligated to participate in the cleaning process, which means that they will start to engage more and more and in a bigger and bigger way with the plastic credits. That's it. Now, we're going to have some great new partnership announcements coming soon. For that, we are going to have another global Zoom that will take place during next month. We're going to share the date and the time for you shortly, but be prepared and be ready for a very exciting year. So all in all, what I can say is that this is truly an amazing time for us in the business. And we here at the office, in the management of the company, I know the leadership, all the key people, with this information that they've received and they've seen now and the development that has happened over the last years, but especially in the last few months, we're all very, very excited. There has never been as much positive energy and also confidence into our business. And I think that's a big word and big topic, the confidence. When you look at our operations from any point of view, it's pretty easy to come to a conclusion that, yeah, this is real, this is working, this is happening, and it's only getting started. So the timing is absolutely amazing. Let's talk about Corsair Capital. The first ever Corsair crowdfunding campaign closed last Thursday with great results. Why is this so important? Let me highlight this for you. This was the first time in the world ever that a network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing company, call it whatever you want, the first time that a network participated and completed a crowdfunding campaign which was licensed, authorized, and regulated by the European Union financial authorities, where the network was legally allowed to offer investments to the public. First time, never done before. Pretty cool. Now, the second campaign is going to begin later this year, where the share price offered in the Corsair Capital public company will now be higher. So I do want to congratulate everybody who already participated in the first phase. This was hugely important, because this step of us moving into the crowdfunding, this first phase that we completed within approximately 1 month, was so important step in the big picture. Because with this, we proved that we are able to do it. We proved that we know what we're doing. And we, as a network, were also able to learn and practice, get sort of a warm up on this new area. And specifically on this new area that will play a very important role in our future. Because when we look at what Corsair Connect as the network will be offering in the future, we are not only going to be anymore about offering plastic waste removal service, which will still remain as our main product, but on top of that, we will now also begin to offer actively crowdfunding services and online banking services. Let's stop here for a second. Just think about what we're talking here. We're talking about us offering banking services as a result of Corsair now becoming a owner and shareholder in a licensed regulated bank. We have our own bank. That's pretty cool. That's the first time that a network anywhere has had their own bank. And we're going to be offering these banking services, which basically means everything from opening an account, which operates exactly like normal bank account. You can have a ATM card for it, a debit card on it. We're even going to roll out credit cards in the future. Whatever you expect from a bank in your local country or online, that's what you're going to see with our banking system. So these are the things that are now coming. And that's why this first campaign that we concluded successfully, without any problems, without any issues, with great results, was so important, because it proved that we know what we're doing. And when we get now closer to the launch of the second phase, this is going to be, again, so much more faster, bigger, easier. You'll see. It'll be great. Now, some of this money that Corsair Capital now raised from investors will also be used to buy CSR plastic credits. So on top of the retirements, on top of the buyback program, also every year when Corsair Capital is raising money from investors, again, 10% of all that money goes into the market to buy CSR plastic credits at any rate, which the company will then hold forever. And we expect during this year to buy more than 200 million CSR plastic credits from the market. That, together with retirements that will be done by companies and private individuals, is projected to combine all together to somewhere between 500 million to 1 billion credits leaving the market during this year. Well, with CSR 25, there's 2.6 million of them on the market right now. So that's quite interesting. That basically means that we expect that hundreds of millions more credits than what is currently available on the exchanges will be purchased and moved permanently. That's what I mean. This will be a very, very interesting and exciting year for all the CSR plastic credit holders. Now, on the CSR Now website, you will see the buyback wallet and the retirement wallet for CSR and CSR 25. You will also soon see the CSR 26 wallets there. But there will also be the Corsair Capital wallet that will be added there. So you can always, from csrnow.com website, you can see the total amounts that have been removed from circulation. Now, we still have a few topics to go. I said it's going to be a lot of information today. So I would say we're going to go another 15 minutes from here. One of the most important things for the January this year is and was the launching of Corsair Connect. Corsair Connect is something that we have been working for a long time, and this was the perfect moment to align these two brands into one. Most importantly, with one shared brand, Corsair, our communication, our messaging, our dialogue, everything that we do now becomes aligned and becomes one. Very, very important. We have spent a lot of effort and time to make sure that the branding looks great. And this is not for all of you, but some of the leaders and key people, when you, for example, use the logo in any material, it's important that we always respect the branding and we use the logo in a proper way, including the proper colors, even the font and everything that we've done. But most importantly, with the Corsair Connect brand, our operations become now faster, more aligned, more clear. There's no longer this, so wait a minute, there's Corsair doing, what is Amplible? No, it's all the same. And that by doing this, we're all now part of the Corsair community, where the company Corsair Connect is the marketing department of Corsair Group. It's just going to make things so much better, and we're going to see a lot of benefits coming from this. Additionally, we have now already welcomed CSR 26. Now, CSR 26 operates exactly the same way as CSR 25 did. So you don't have to be worried about any big change. How is this going to work? No, works exactly the same way. In the same way, when plastic waste removal work is being done from the environment, and that work is being recorded, documented, audited, based on that work, CSR 26 plastic credits are being minted and then distributed. Exactly like we did with CSR 25. So what can we expect now from CSR 26? When somebody buys our plastic waste removal service today, and they begin now, as the service is being completed by Corsair, they begin to receive these digital receipts, the CSR 26, as a result of this work that's being done. What can they expect in short term and long term? Well, first of all, Monday the 19th, which will be Monday 1 week from now, will be the day when CSR 26 will enter trading at the L Bank exchange. Very interesting. The trading and the listing price for CSR 26 will begin at $5 per credit, which is approximately the same value that CSR 25 has on the market right now. I'm going to come back and talk about that a little bit more. But in the meantime, we are also getting ready to launch our new back office for Corsair Connect. As you heard from Mr. Wayne Dobson, our Chief Information Officer last week, we are currently expecting to launch the new back office for Corsair Connect in the middle of February. During February, we are also expecting to launch Corsair Bay, our online bank, which will then be our new payment gateway. The Corsair Pay platform will initially become available for citizens from every other area in the world except from Europe. That'll be the first stage. I know it's crazy, but that's how the regulations work. On the first stage, we will do it for everywhere else except Europe. And then on the second phase, we will have the European operations launched as well. Eventually, we will be able to cover pretty much every country, every citizenship around the world. With the launch of the new Corsair Connect back office in the middle of February, we're also going to launch some improvements to the compensation plan. These are improvements that have been long in the making. And with this, we're looking to improve how payments are done in terms of commissions, and especially encourage new people into the business by being able to earn money faster. We're also going to change the currency that we use from euro into US dollar, which again will simplify things a lot. Because the US dollar is used globally in the trading of CSR plastic credits on the exchanges, it's more logical that the sales of the plastic waste removal service takes place in dollars as well. It will simplify things a lot. And you will even see that in the next slides that I'm going to cover here. So let's come back to the projections for the CSR26 market. So first of all, the trading of CSR26 will begin next week, 1 week from now, on L-Bank at $5 per token, which represents 50 cents per kilo of plastic waste removed from the environment. Our projection is that the market price for CSR26 will quite quickly develop to somewhere between 6 to 10 cents per credit within the first weeks of the year. This will be caused by limited supply, but also growing demand. Corsair Connect has already now launched its first campaign for CSR26 and the strategy for 2026, which will also play a meaningful part in how the market will react and develop. So what happens here is that Corsair Connect as a marketing department, as a network, offers the CSR26 plastic neutrality packages at a standard rate for that week. Now, the standard rate that we started last week was based on 15 euro cents per kilo of plastic waste removed from the environment. In other words, 1.5 cents per CSR26. With every kilo that Corsair removes from the environment, or one of our contributing partners does together with us, will result into the issuance of 10 plastic credits. So 1 kilo, 10 plastic credits, always the same formula. But this means that the standard rate today is set for 15 cents per kilo or 1.5 cents per CSR26. During the first 2 weeks of the year, where 1 week has already been passed, there is also a special 25% discount included. This means that the 15 cents is now 11 cents, or in other words, 1.1 cents per CSR26. This special offer is now available until next Friday. So please take action now. After that, this discount will go away, and we will then have, as the general price, this 1.5 cents per credit or 15 cents per kilo. Every week after that, you're going to start to see the weekly rate to increase towards the end of the year. Exactly like last year. It starts from 1.5, then goes to 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, and it just keeps on climbing towards the end of the year. So this means that the sooner that the customer takes advantage of these campaigns, the more savings and benefits they will receive. But even here, if the result from completing the removal of plastic waste is for the customer to get the credits at 2 cents, but the market rate is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, Well, there's a lot of benefit there. And on top of that, with every single purchase of the service, the customer is now participating in cleaning our planet from this plastic pollution. Our projection is that over time, the CSR 26 will continue to value on the market based on the retirements, and eventually, because of that, will grow to a level of 30 to even 50 cents per CSR 26 plastic credit. Now, this is in relation to the general market value of plastic credits. This is not the result of the buyback program. That's extra. Where that's going to go to over the coming years? Well, you do the math. There is a limited supply on the market of CSR and CSR 25s, and there will be a limited supply of CSR 26 as well. And with more machines turning plastic waste into oil, with more plastic coming into the factories, with more crowdfunding, with more investments coming into the company, money is going to go into the buyback program. And that's just going to be becoming more and more and bigger every year. That means that there's a continuous increase of demand and continuous reduction of supply. What do you think is going to happen for the value? Well, you're smart enough to do the math yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a lot more communication, updates, and information. There's going to be a lot of information coming your way. And that being said, we are going to have the next global Zoom in February, which we will announce to you shortly. So keep that in mind. But also, we would like to inform you about our events calendar for this year. We're going to, following the global Zoom, we're going to engage with our North American tour in the month of March, during which we will enter United States and Canada, visiting the biggest cities in the countries. This will be a very important one. And also in the month of May, we're going to hold 2 European events. We will have an event in Finland, which will cover the northern part of Europe, primarily targeted for the Finnish, the Swedish, the German, the Netherlands, the Belgians and such. Anybody and everyone is of course welcome, but that's primarily targeted for the Northern Europeans. 1 week after, we are going to hold our Southern European event, which I know will be a very big thing for many of the people here in this call today. And we're going to have it in a location which will be a driving distance for a lot of the Italians, French, Spanish, and obviously people from Portugal as well. So this will be in the Mediterranean area, and we expect great results and obviously a lot of fun from having all of us together in these 2 European events. Then later in the year, as the tradition now already is, towards the end of October, beginning of November, we're going to hold our Vision 26 event week here in Thailand. And the ones of you that were here for the last time, you've seen how these events are becoming even more nicer and grander and beautiful. Next year, or next time, should say, will be even better, even bigger. And we expect more and more people from around the world to participate and to qualify. We are going to announce well in advance the qualification requirements that are needed in order for you to be invited. And I want to highlight the Vision events will always be invitation only. You can't buy a ticket there. This is again a very different way of doing things like many other marketing companies does. We don't sell tickets. There's no tickets. We don't make any money from these events. These events are 100% paid by the company. That's how it works. And you qualify, you work, you participate, you deliver results, mostly for yourself, but into the business, and you'll get an invitation for you and your spouse, your partner, your special someone. So keep these dates in mind. We're going to be releasing the more detailed ones shortly, but these are something that will happen. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of things happening online. We're going to be doing more and more weekly and monthly calls, and we're going to expect a lot of development this year. So that being said, I would like to highlight and summarize this call into the following statement. There is no better time than now. We are ready. We are ready as a company. We are ready as a community to take that step to the next level and welcome all of this growth, this greatness, this fortune that we as a community and as a company, as a business are going to receive and experience this year. 2026 will be amazing, and I know that together we will make this our best year yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again, all about 200 of you that were with us here today. I want to thank you for taking your time and participating us this call during Sunday. It's a pleasure to be here with you. We have a great year ahead of us, and you have great leadership in your business. I want to say thank you for all the key people, all the leaders, but also I want to say welcome for all the new members. If you are here today listening this for the first time, learning about us for the first time, well, you have arrived at the right time. This is the perfect time to start your business. Absolutely. Everything is in place, everything is ready. And the confidence level that we see from our members from all over the world is just overwhelming. Those questions, is this going to work? Is this real? They're gone. You know, it's like I spoke to Andrea Cerio one week ago, a few days ago, and he said the same thing. You know, like somebody says, yeah, I don't believe in this. It's like, so what is it that you don't believe in? It's like, how can you, like, okay, he said, I don't believe in Microsoft, or I don't believe in Tesla, I don't believe in Amazon, I don't believe in the internet, I don't believe in Bitcoin. Sure, listen, believe whatever you want. Go out there, do your thing, believe whatever you want, but don't waste my time. Okay?
Don't waste my time, exactly.
Don't waste my time. I mean, if you look at everything that we spoke today about, our company now being licensed, authorized to offer investment opportunities for the public, licensed by the European financial authorities, being recognized by the United Nations, expanding our collaborations with companies like Shell, the largest companies in the world, expanding into the United States, which is the single most regulated country in the world when it comes to network marketing. And we are now talking, and I can tell you this, we are talking to the highest of the highest level in the United States federal government right now. And everybody we talk to is in full support. Now the banks are calling us. The European government is calling us, offering us more money to help them to clean the plastic from the European environment. Guys, this is what we're dealing with. And the best part is we're just getting started. So welcome, and let's make this year amazing together. Thank you very much.